Life Camera Acting. This is the podcast that shines a light on the business of acting. I'm your host, Scott Akis. My friends and I will chat about the good and the bad of working as an actor, as well as how to deal with the challenges of life while working in a career that, well, it just refuses to follow any standard business practices from other industries. Life for us can be quirky, equal parts rejection and triumph, but it really is what we make it. And perhaps by hearing some of the stories of my friends and myself, it might give you a chance to figure out other options that you can use in the challenges of your life and other ways to create those triumphs that you're looking for. Okay, so welcome, David Bryan.
Thank you, Scott Akis.
All right, so today I'm with David Bryan, and David is 56 years old. He was in the Army, in the computer IT network industry, a computer technology instructor around the country. David was involved in politics, custodial equipment. He was the VP of facilities management for a company in Nigeria. He's owned an upscale restaurant, and he's been a boutique gym owner / personal trainer. David enjoys rucking, cooking, fishing, hunting, family, and I hear you do a mean version of Mustang Sally in karaoke.
Oh, yeah. That sound level might have been a little too high.
I think you're okay. Oh, my gosh. So David has acted in plays and community theater since you were a kid.
Yeah.
Your very first play was in first grade, and you played one of 20 angels in a play called The Littlest Angel. Were you the littlest?
I was not.
Oh, okay.
Didn't get the lead on that part. No.
David started voiceover acting back in 2008 and started doing background extra work in 2010, and he retained an agent in 2022. We share an agent.
And it was because of you.
Shout out
Eddie Winkler.
Eddie Winkler. There we go. With the Klutz Agency. David lives by a code that encourages him to do interesting things, get out there and be extraordinary, meet new people, and inspire others to be inspirational. I love this. And on a side note, I've seen you do all of this. I know it's very true. You've done this for me. And if you have a creed, it's yes, it's true. If you want to be an actor, open your mind, thicken your skin, and get used to rejection.
Yes.
You'll love it.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
You'll love it is the part I like.
You'll love it.
All right, so David, welcome to Life Camera Acting.
Thank you so much.
We at Life Camera Acting, we subscribe to a thought process or an approach that basically says that while we can tell each other very formally how to do stuff, how to accomplish things, how to be better, how to do this, how to do that, the most valuable nuggets generally come out of conversation when we're just being ourselves, completely informal, when maybe over a meal or like a drink. And I'm way too lazy to make you a drink or make you a meal, but I'm not too lazy to make you a drink.
I can handle that.
All right, so bourbon. I know you're a big bourbon guy.
Big bourbon fan.
Today we have the 6-year aged Bibb and Tucker.
Fantastic. I have not had it.
And you know what? I haven't either. So, whoops.
That's the water glass.
I'm really looking forward to it. This should be great. So here's a couple fingers for you. And we'll do the same for me. In case you guys want to see it.
There
Cheers.
you go. Cheers to you, sir.
Cheers to you. Thank you for being here.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Good stuff.
So, first and foremost, explain rucking.
Rucking. Carrying around a heavy freaking backpack. That's about it. So
why would one do this? Unless your commanding officer instructed you to do so.
Yeah, well, back then that was the case, but my knees, have arthritis for years, No cartilage. I still run, which the doctor says I shouldn't do it, but
Well, you and
I
me,
don't want to gain 100 pounds.
Well, there's that. When the doctor says not to do it, you still do it. You
Yeah.
and me fall towards the not always brightest side of the equation on that kind of stuff.
Exactly. But the rugging part, it goes back to the military time. You basically average about 20 pounds in a backpack, and you walk or run certain distances. You can do workouts at every mile, do a certain amount of push-ups, then get back
wow.
up and start rucking again.
And you never take it off the whole time.
Never take it off. And so now I'm doing 70 pounds, and I do about 1.5 miles every day just to get prepared for the next adventure. So a lot of fun.
I'll give you. So I have been rucking by this definition. I didn't know to call it that, but I've walked around with a 50-pound rucksack. So I went to a training one time in northern Illinois, Rockport, Illinois.
Very good.
And we were on 70 acres, and I was being trained in leadership by Army Rangers. And so they taught us how to, the express version of how to be Army Rangers. And this is a bunch of people who, sit behind a desk every day, and you sign up and you go to this class, right? It's a week long. And basically they train you on how to walk in formation, how to communicate without talking, how to do all the things that Army Rangers do, how to set up camp, how to defend. They give you a gun. We had paintball guns.
Yeah.
And they said, and the enemy is out there. And that's all they said. And then they left us. We had radios, and they went back to headquarters, and we set our radios down and decided what our ranks were, who was leading the thing. And then we get an order on our radios that tells us how we are going to get dinner, what our dinner is, and if we fail, then we have to fall back to our MREs.
Oh boy.
Yeah, each had 50-pound rucksacks, and we're traversing, we're orienteering, we're doing all our things. Every so often you hear a shot fly by, and you look around, and it was crazy, but it was controlled craziness. And I tell you this story because you're going to say, that's so Scott. So at night, after we got our meal, and we had to do it for water for showers, we had to do it for various things. The longer the week got, we had to do it for chocolate. We had to, had increasingly high
risk and reward.
Your rewards, right? So the first night, I'm on watch over, part of the overnight. All right, so we're not patrolling, but we have a perimeter.
Okay.
And I had my part, and I had taken my rucksack off all day, 50 pounds. It was part of me, and you almost forget it's there. But when you sit down on the ground and you just lean back, it keeps you like this in a sitting position. And I have my gun, and it's kind of across my stomach like this, and I've attuned to the light, the moon, the smells and the sounds, right? So now I'm in total concentration. Yeah. And at some point, I woke up, and there was a big, ginormous ass field mouse sitting on my chest. And when I say I screamed
like a girl,
like a little baby, and people came running. Yeah, that was my rucking experience.
That's great. That's great. Gosh. I actually, for 9/11, I've done 2 races, rucking races.
Wow.
5Ks. First one came in second place. Second one last year came in first place. And 56 years old.
Damn, brother.
And there's all ages in there. And so it's really cool. And it's a lot more calorie burn than just walking.
Sure.
Just add a little bit extra weight. It's amazing what you can do.
Well, I basically walk every day. I walk miles every day, but I'm kind of liking this idea of
carry your wife.
Putting a few. Well, I've got weights. I just throw some weights in a backpack and go.
Yeah.
All right. You've inspired me. That's the new the next thing.
Inspire to inspire others.
Will I get a 6-pack out of this?
I'll give you a bottle of bourbon.
That's the anti 6-pack, but I'll take the bottle for sure. All right. So you keep a pretty full dance card.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, you do.
Drives my wife nuts.
I know, you really do. And well, it's only fair to say that I've known you for 20 years plus.
23 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Gosh.
Man, I remember. I mean, we talked about it in your bio. You were engaged in politics. I remember one time you had to be in two places at the same time, and you sent me as a proxy to do a very short presentation.
Yeah.
And I became the enemy of a mayor that night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and all of the cronies that came with it. I became the enemy.
You got the sides in every political spectrum.
Oh, that was okay.
Fun stuff.
I wouldn't take it back. I was so
Fun
happy
stuff.
to do that for you, to represent you in that way. With all that being said, though, you've been a voice actor now for 15 plus years.
Thereabout, yeah.
And you are acting in movies, TV shows, and commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that all that you have done up till now has led you or prepared you in some way for your acting and voice acting?
100%.
All right, so how so?
I am very much an extrovert. I am a very emotional person. I cry, I laugh, I get angry, and I don't get to the extreme of any of that, but I am in touch with all of my emotions. And I look back, and I actually even thought about this today on the way over here, that it's almost like I am in such control of the emotions that I can feel the happiness part whenever I need to be that on stage or to perform, and let out tears when I need to, and be a total asshole when I need to, and all in a matter of split seconds. And I think that's part of why I can, is because I've done so many different things. And again, it drives my wife crazy. She says I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I feel like, well, I haven't really accomplished everything I want to accomplish. And it goes back to the song, I'm just an old chunk of coal, but I'm going to be a diamond someday.
Nice.
So, I mean, everything has helped me do this. And I never see myself as reinventing. I just see myself as continually improving and continually inventing who I am. So
you don't see it as reinvention.
No.
That's interesting.
I've got so many things I want to do, and I'm never going to stop. I've told my family I'm going to live to 104, and I still got another 48 years to go, so I got a lot more to go.
You pegged it at 104.
104.
Like you didn't even give yourself 105.
The day I turn 104, I'm going to be sleeping. And I'm going to just say, I'm done.
Oh my gosh. I need to think more about my future. Okay,
Yes.
so you're talking about this is who you are, and you're in touch with your emotions, and I think that's like such a valuable asset for an actor. But I mean, even some of the best aren't that. Like I mean, I'm not one of the best, but I will tell you that I'm okay. But if I need to cry, I probably need a good week with that scene, just getting in touch with it, so that in the moment I feel it the way I'm supposed to feel it, right? And I can live it in that moment. I can't turn it on like that now. Maybe the asshole I can turn on pretty easy. But I mean, so like from my time, and you were a freaking politician, so you might be able to relate to this. In my time as a business owner, working for other people, there's a lot of, really, and I'm doing it right now, pick your words carefully. Say the right thing the right way, so that A, it's understood, and B, you're not stepping on toes, you're not offending, you're not doing all these things, right? I probably wrestled with that. Once I decided this is what I want to do full time, I wrestled with that probably good 8 months. I mean, that long. I wrestled with that because I thought I was letting go, and I was in the moment, and then I would look at the tape and I'm like, damn. And then I got some feedback from my very first guest on this podcast.
I saw that.
Yeah, Ray.
Yeah.
I mean, I sought out some feedback, and she came at me hard, and she told me, "You're stiff."
Yeah.
And she told my agent, "He's stiff." and I went to work. I mean, it didn't deter me, but it was there, right?
Uh-huh.
Like that world had me a certain way, and I was so conditioned. It took me a long time to get out of it.
Yeah. To be that professional all the time.
Yes.
The ultimate professional.
Yeah, and you seem like you just flow.
I can be professional. Let's see. I won't say that I have to put on an act to be professional, because I am what I am. By the grace of God, I am what I am. So whenever I'm in that mode, I'll put on my suit and tie and I go to work, and I go to talk to C-level people about what I can do for them. And if I'm hanging out with friends and we go do karaoke, that's who I am at that point. So it's never really an act. And I just put that into the position of whatever role I might be playing. I mean, I can be an asshole.
Right.
I can be your best friend, and I can be your worst enemy, and I'll be there to cry on your shoulder whenever I need to. And I just put that into play. And I would never say that I'm a fantastic actor. It gives me, I guess, a big head whenever I go out on set and some of the camera people will come in and say, "Man, that was an amazing scene, man." It's like, what? All I did was
Right.
cheers with somebody and had a conversation. They said, "No, but it was so real." It's like, isn't that what this is supposed to be? I mean, I've only been doing this for a year.
No, yeah.
And I'm loving it, man.
You're
I'm
real good
loving
at it. You're real good at it.
I'm having a ball.
Well, you should be, but that's how you live your life. That's the you I've known. You said you can be best friend. You can be your worst enemy. I've never really seen the worst enemy, even when somebody deserved it. I've never quite seen you get to that level.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just not who you are.
Yeah.
Naturally, I think you have to force that.
I did. Actually, this last, I'm on a TV series. It's not out yet, and I won't even mention names or anything like that. But anyway, I had to be an asshole. And I had a very challenging time with one of the scenes because I'm talking to my adversary. Mm-hmm. And I am one of the bad guys. And I am having to cuss her out, and I end up throwing something, and it's like, it took me a long time to.
You're like,
cut.
Really
okay,
throw it. Come
cut.
on, man.
I ended up. We had one scene, and I actually, I'm proud to say that I actually came up with doing that because it was like the pinnacle of that moment. So I brought my own glass just to throw.
Nice.
So it was cool, and I've got it sitting on the mantle now too. So anyway, we had to do, 10 takes of that one little short scene because it was like I'd forget my line, and it's like I had such a hard time telling another person that they're a bitch and F this. And so to get through that was probably one of the biggest challenges of the last year.
So,
and
speaking of the last year then, acting as opposed to voice acting, because I do want to talk about the voice acting, but in a bit.
Totally different.
Yes. So acting, where you don't get to read it, you don't get to have it in front of you, and you have to embody a particular person and their thoughts and emotions, and the what's on the line for them in that moment, all that stuff, right? When you are so when you're doing that, how have you made the adjustment from voice acting to being able to do that?
I'm a storyteller.
True.
I can tell real stories, true stories, and I could come up with a BS story right now that will just come off the tip of my tongue. And that's basically how I did it for that particular role. One of our tasks was to create our own backstory. All they gave us was the script, and this is your character. And it's like, okay. And the name of my character doesn't go with what I look like. So I had to create all of that stuff. So it's like I just thought about it for a day, and we did our table reads through Zoom, and it's like, okay, David, you want to give us your background? And it had 3 pages of questions, and I didn't even let them ask the questions. I just told them my life story of the character.
Right.
And every motion, every movement, every word that came out of that character's mouth came from that story using their lines. And luckily they didn't make us be word perfect with the script. We could ad-lib a little bit. But it was so freaking awesome.
Well, and I mean, that's beautiful, because I mean, that's what we should do with every character. You know, I mean, we should, if we should fill in the blanks. I mean, we get some sides, or we get a background from a casting director on an audition, and it's so empty.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's hard to be authentic to that character unless you fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
And you got to have a little creativity, a little imagination.
Exactly.
And
show your range.
And
you always hear that.
The scariest thing about that is that you're committing to something that could be completely off from what they had in mind.
Right.
And 99% of the time for me, it probably is off. My intention is not to be, you know, some sort of psychic and know what they want. It's to commit so hard to something that's so good, it makes them rethink what they thought.
Exactly. And that's exactly what happened with the audition and the backstory. I mean, I don't want to go too deep into it, but I'm so proud of what we are doing so far.
You should be.
It just wrapped, and now they're doing post-production up, but I mean, I just can't wait for this to come out.
I can't wait for it either.
Amazing actors and actresses, and just...
So when it comes out, what we need to do is make sure that you know, through whatever means you have, but also through this podcast, that we're able to share that it's come out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would love that, because I want everybody to see this. I want everybody to see what you're talking about, because this is a rare peek behind the intentions of the actor, and you get to hear it first before you see the performance, and that's kind of cool.
Oh, it's so cool, man, because to play an antagonist is outside of a comfort zone for me, and to talk the way I do to people, and
That's okay.
I could talk about that forever. It's so cool.
I get it. I just scored a role. It was a few weeks ago, but I won't. Like they've pushed back shooting a little bit, so I won't be able to shoot on this for a while. But I scored a role as, well, it's hard to explain. So there's a protagonist and an antagonist that make up the main story. Eventually, the antagonist dies, but there's a bigger boss that was behind him.
Okay.
I'm the bigger boss's assassin.
Oh boy.
And I actually
cool.
show up, and nobody knows I'm the bigger boss's assassin. You know, so I'm looking forward to doing this.
Oh man, oh gosh, we are so lucky, blessed. People use blessed,
Yes, absolutely.
But fortunate that, I mean, you made the initial introduction for me. And it's something I've always wanted to do, and it's just a matter of how would I even break into this? And I hear all the horror stories.
Sure.
Well, people don't make money. You're not going to be rich and famous unless you go to Hollywood and become a waitress or waiter, and you're going to live on the streets for a little while. And it's like, I'm going to give this a shot. And I spoke to you. I got that. Eddie contacted me, went into the office. Not 3 months later, I get two major commercials. I don't know if I can say the names of them on there or whatever.
Yeah, you can.
It's HEB and Northern Tool. It's like, holy crap, people are seeing this all over the country, and they're calling me saying, hey, you're on my TV. What are you doing on my TV? Like, wow. And it's like, why haven't I done this all my life? If it's this easy, those two is all I've got, the big one so far. I mean,
well, that's how this industry is. I mean, and you said you saw when Ray was my guest.
Yeah.
And Ray, you know, when Eddie told me to give her a call, and I did.
Because she was booking everything.
She was booking everything,
Yeah.
and that's from the agent. If the agent's saying that,
Exactly.
then it's true,
Exactly.
right? And so she's booking everything, and then by the time I had her on the podcast, she's like, "Yeah, I'm not
Things are
booking
slowing.
anything right
Yeah.
this moment."
Yeah.
And what was funny is I knew that about her because about a month prior, I was on set with her, and she told me, "I don't have anything after this."
Wow.
And I was like, "Wait, you?"
Yeah.
You? And she goes, "Yeah, it's dried up. I got nothing."
Uh.
And she was on like big TV shows.
Wow.
She's found her stride again.
That's good.
So
That's
she's.
good.
I mean, but that happens. I've heard that the hardest time for actors that find it and make it big is they get, they're a lead or recurring on a major, TV show,
Mm-hmm.
and then that TV show gets canceled, and then
what do they do?
they're
seem to be
not booking
pigeonholed.
anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not booking, and and I've heard it takes a while. I haven't been in this position, so if anyone wants to put me in this
Exactly.
position, just holler.
Please do. Please
I
do.
need to experience this.
Wow.
But yeah, I've heard that that's a big deal, and it's a pretty common thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, to be honest with you, I've heard this from big name actors on other podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I've heard it once or twice. I hear it, like it's a recurring theme. So, I think that A, this industry is not for the faint-hearted, but B, it also tells me that when I go through a drought, other people are going through a drought.
Gosh, yes.
And there's
Oh, yes.
always a light at the end of that
Right.
tunnel.
And it's nothing against you.
No, not at all.
You just might not. I mean, I'm sure you audition all the time. I audition at least 3 to 4 times a day. I'll get a
audition
call
lot.
back maybe once or twice every couple of weeks, and that it's like, holy crap, I get a call back, yay! And don't get the part.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a matter of, okay, somebody out there liked what they saw. I just wasn't
Right.
the face, the sound, whatever, for that particular part. But you're always there, hopefully, in that either the casting director or the director's mind that they saw you and it's like, okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, I recently, and I talked about this in other podcasts, I have had classes, workshops with 4 different major podcasts, especially major to Dallas, but also LA and New Mexico and Utah and just Arizona.
Very good.
And I take workshops because I want to be known. Like, there's one thing. There's something about sending in. The casting director likes you, so they send it in because they don't have the final say.
Exactly.
They just don't.
Exactly.
But they like you, so they keep audition. They keep asking you to submit for auditions or asking your agent, right? And then you audition, and then it kind of disappears after that because that's where their say runs out.
Yeah.
It then boils down to the people that work at a particular company or an agency,
Yep.
a marketing advertising agency or something like that, or maybe it's the director. So there's no way I can go out and become a known entity to these agencies and all of these companies.
Yeah.
But I can start to become known to the directors. And so I've done that.
Just by networking. That's something I need to do more of.
I have gotten myself out there
Yeah.
and really started working, and I've got a number of directors that are comfortable calling me and either asking me to audition, but more often than not just saying, "Are you available?"
That's awesome.
And
That's awesome.
that is, it's worth it's worth its weight in gold,
Oh,
to be
gosh,
honest
yes.
with you. Well, I shouldn't say that because it's not like I get paid a lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
None of us do.
exactly.
Commercials pay quite well.
Commercials pay really well.
Yeah.
But
TV,
you have to go through the process. For
exactly.
commercials, for
TV
most
and
of them.
movies, I mean, you're not going to get rich quick.
Nope.
There's no get rich quick scheme in this industry. But I mean, if you've got a passion for doing it, I mean, whether we are getting paid to do a commercial, to do a TV, whatever, we're considered working actors, and I want everybody that actually is doing this game. And if anybody asks you, well, are you a working actor? It's like, heck yeah, I work my butt off every day trying to get the gig.
Yep.
And I hone my talent. I watch videos of other acting coaches. I mean, there's so much free information out there that you don't have to go find who's the best acting coach in Dallas-Fort Worth. You can go out there and just look on the internet, and they're spoon-feeding the information to you. Fantastic stuff out there.
Yeah.
And that's how I've learned a lot. A lot of it is almost like be yourself in that position and don't overact.
Well, a lot of people in old industry heads
Yeah.
would say, because they'll flat out ask you, who are you taking classes with?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you say YouTube,
Yeah. Oh gosh, no.
yeah, I mean,
You don't
just,
no.
I mean, you wouldn't, but I mean,
No.
if that's the reality of it,
Exactly.
they're already looking down their noses.
Of
at
course.
You. I mean,
Of course.
I am fortunate to have an amazing acting coach that I take classes with. He's in LA, and I got to figure this out. I got to figure out a way to put a monitor here and then have his face on the monitor in front of this microphone.
You can make that happen.
Because I need to have him on this podcast. But I'm fortunate enough to have him. But I have just met so many people who have had whatever acting experience that they've had,
Mm-hmm.
have become really good at their jobs, and I respect the hell out of them, and they don't take active classes right now.
Right.
And
There's nothing like getting back and forth communication between a coach and an actor.
There's nothing like getting back and forth communication, period, right? I mean,
Right.
You said, you have to have a passion for this. I do my auditions for me. Like, I
Mhm.
get them.
Mm-hmm.
I figure out my character's backstory, like you said.
Mhm.
I get into that character's head, like 100%. That character, I make that character, like, embody, just take over my body,
Mhm.
right? And now now I can be that character, and I will self-tape. Some people say only do about 3 takes. If it takes you more than that, you're doing too much.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my times I will do 1 take.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there are times when I'll do 10, 12 takes because I want to see that character
Right.
reflected
Right.
back to me.
Right.
And that's where my happiness comes from, is me looking at that and saying, yeah, you
That
found
was
it.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what happens beyond that, I send it into the ether, and
And forget about it.
I gotta tell you, in my life, everything gets screwed up when I send it away from me. So I don't worry about
Yeah.
that. Like,
Yeah.
I take care of my stuff. It's done. It's the way it's supposed to be. I put in extra work. Boom. Now I got to rely on other people.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it gets screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
That I leave that to the outside of me.
Yeah, the powers
people.
that be.
Yep,
Yeah.
and just focus on making myself happy with this industry, and sometimes that aligns
Mm-hmm.
with what somebody's looking for. I mean,
Exactly.
I think
Exactly.
that's the only way that actors can be long term in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
If you're always trying to please, figure out how to please the people.
everybody. Yeah, you can't please everybody, and that's just life in general.
Yeah.
You got to learn you can't please everybody.
But it like, have you been to live auditions recently?
Recently,
Like
yeah.
in the past year?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How many have you gone to?
3.
Wow.
3 live.
See, I've been to 4 since 2020.
Wow.
4 live
Wow.
auditions. One of them I got a standing ovation.
Wow.
Like, I went in, I almost didn't show up because they didn't send me the sides, they didn't send me anything. And I was emailing, begging for them, I never got anything. The date
Uh-huh.
comes up, I'm like,
Maybe
all right, I said I was going to go, I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Show up. The person that greets me says, what role are you? I have to sign in. What role are you? I don't know any of the roles. So
you
they
just told me to come.
They lay out like 14 different
Oh my gosh.
papers, and they're like,
Wow.
well, I guess just choose a couple. So I went and memorized them. It took 2. Went and memorized them. I thought, I'm going to do this for the experience. I'm not doing this to get the role. There is no effing way I'm getting this role. But I'm going to do this for the experience. And I don't get super nervous anymore. I was nervous.
Yeah.
And I liked it. I liked that I was nervous.
It's
so
that rush.
Yeah. So it's like, press forward. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I got in there and I did my thing. I did one character, and the first take was meh. The second take was fire. They said, let's have you try the other character. And I just
nailed it. There you go.
And so I got done, and like literally 2 people stood up, and then
clapped.
6 people were standing
Dude.
up, and they were
That's
clapping,
fantastic.
and I'm like,
That's fantastic.
do I
What
take
are
a
they-
bow? What happens now? And then another one, I just got told, like they kept me 20 minutes after my audition and just telling me how good I did.
Excellent.
So that kind of feedback happens from time to time in
Yeah.
live auditions.
Yeah.
Maybe not in LA, but here.
Yeah. I went for one, and I was auditioning for basically a homeless vagrant in a short film, and so I had all the lines down and did the audition. They said, "Well, I tell you what, would you mind auditioning for this part, a preacher?"
Yeah, I know this role.
I don't really know the lines. I mean, but I can look down at them, and so I did it. Ended up getting the part for the preacher.
See,
Like, okay.
I would have to work so hard to become a preacher. I really would. But conversely, this is a weird question. Do you believe hypnotism is like a real thing? Like you can be hypnotized?
If you want to be, I think you can be.
I was
If you
in-
don't want to be, I don't think you.
I was at a comedy show, bro. I was at
Oh,
a-
you actually
I was
went-
at a comedy show. I got on stage.
Yeah.
They kept whittling down the number of people that weren't fully hypnotized or that were faking it or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And when there were just a few of us, they had us doing stuff.
And you don't remember doing it?
I remember everything, 100%, and it's on video. Like it's on it's old. It's on
Yeah.
VHS. but I have the video somewhere.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't know what they were going to ask me to do. I had no idea, and I wasn't nervous. I was just sitting there content. It's like no big deal. And then they asked me to run for 2nd grade class president. So I ran on a platform of chocolate milk and something else, and I mean, no big deal. I was just all right.
Improv.
Yeah, it's just completely improv, and I mean, I wasn't giving too much thought to it. I was just doing it.
Yeah.
Which is how we should be anyway.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I was just doing it, and then they said, "Okay, you're running for 2nd grade class president." I'm trying to remember all the conditions with a French accent. If you ask me right now, I can't. Oui, I don't know. Un de toi. I have no idea. If I have to do a French accent, it's going to be horrible. But I was doing a French accent, I didn't know they were going to say it. They said it. I was doing it.
There you go.
And then they said, "You're Jesse Jackson running for 2nd grade class president with a French accent." And I did that. I was preaching.
Oh, that's great.
I was preaching the 2nd grade class president
Oh my gosh.
platform with a French accent.
And you remember doing this?
Oh, I remember doing 100%.
But-
I can't reproduce it.
Yeah.
Like I can't reproduce
That's
it.
wild. That's wild.
But it's in me,
Yeah.
and if
They just happen to get it out of
they
you.
got it out of me.
There you go.
And sometimes when I'm acting, I feel like that happens too, like on set.
Uh-huh.
Like things come out of me on set.
Oh yeah, a good
They-
director can get some stuff out of you.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Had some good ones. That's wow.
yeah. So try that one day when you're
Oh,
just
yeah.
when you're
Oh,
feeling
yeah.
froggy. Just
Jesse Jackson, French 2nd grader.
All right.
Do that. I
So-
did have to. I auditioned for a role with a Hebrew accent. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, YouTube Hebrew accent. not a lot out there. I came up with my own. I'm in the running. I got a call back.
All right.
And we'll find out. I don't know.
All right. Hey, good luck with that. I just wrapped a couple weeks ago it's a little more than a couple weeks ago, but I wrapped a movie that's going to be shown to the UN, and I'm an African freedom fighter, and I asked the director, where in Africa am I from? And the director goes, well, the main thing is that you're exhausted. You've been up for many days, and you're fighting the good fight, and you're just exhausted. And then in the final scene, you're dying. And I'm like, okay, but where am I from? He goes, I don't know. So Wakanda
Figure it out. Yeah.
Wakanda it
There
is.
you
So
go.
I started watching Black Panther.
There you go.
And on set, they all wanted me to say, I am the captain now.
In that accent.
I refused. I had my accent. Don't mess up my accent. So I went at this with the Wakandan accent. Yes.
I gotta hear it.
No.
The movie will be out soon.
Like literally, I can get into it. It's hard to get into it, and then it's hard to get out of it.
Right.
So I'm not going to do it right now.
Oh my gosh.
All right, but this ties in. So I actually have an upcoming role in a local TV show.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember like shows like For Country Reporter and
Oh yeah.
So those are local to the DFW market, right? So I've got a role in a show like that, but it's about charities, and it highlights a charity through a local celeb or company CEO or somebody like that.
Yeah.
And I'm the narrator. I have wanted to do voiceover work forever. I used to be a DJ on the radio. I feel like I'm capable.
You should know.
Yeah, but I got this role, so I'm happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't audition. Again, know somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
But before that, I was kind of baffled on how to actually get started. So what would you say to me 4 months ago, and I'm trying to get into voiceover work?
Same thing that I said in that bio is you need to grow some thick skin and get used to rejection. But
what do I do?
What do you do? Read out loud a lot. Record yourself because you don't sound like what you sound like in your own head.
That's the truth.
Yeah. And
people actually like my voice more than I like my voice.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Whenever I tell people I do voiceover work, they say, yeah, I can hear that. It's like, how do you hear that? Like, Mercedes on center stage.
When I
That's
was
about
in
what
radio,
I hear.
they would call a voice like yours golden-throated. That sounds really bad in today's world.
Yeah.
But you have like the golden throat, like your voice is made out of gold. It's golden, right?
You've got the guys out there that have made millions of dollars that's got the deep voice. I change my voice depending on who I'm talking to, and if I'm just chilling out, it's like this is it.
Yeah.
But then I've got the high pitched voice that I mean, it all depends on the
Mickey Mouse
commercial.
voice.
Yeah. But I've done. I mean, if you want to do voiceover work, don't try to pigeonhole yourself into. Well, I want to do Disney.
Well, what's your demo reel like? I mean,
A little bit of everything.
Okay.
Mainly commercials. I've done phone system, e-learning, commercials for radio, for TV. I was the voice of Bourbon Country, Kentucky.
all right.
Just all kinds of different things.
So if I wanted to create a demo reel around voiceover work, and I went out and got a few commercial scripts.
Practice.
Practice
You've
with
gotta
them.
have.
But could I put those on the demo reel? Once,
You got to be very careful.
okay.
You got to be, because you don't want to portray that you've done that commercial.
Right.
You just leave out the name of the company or whatever, and just do part of the script without naming who it is. And you got to have proper background music. There's a lot that goes into it. I would never recommend anyone doing their own voice demo if they really want to get serious. I did do my own, but I've been doing this a long time, and I compare it to other professionals that it sounds pretty good but I've got my own studio. I've got everything padded. Everything sounds correct. I've got a great microphone. I've got all the editing software that I need to do it. And again, rich and famous, neither.
Right.
Huh? I mean, it takes time. It takes effort. It takes audition after audition. You've got the pay-to-play sites. You've got the best way is to build up your own network, like what you're doing with the acting part. A lot of times I don't have time to do that. So if you really want to focus on just that, you're going to be broke for a long time. Just put that out there.
Okay.
Personally, I've got to have other income, and I've got to have a fantastic wife that supports me 100% in everything that I do.
You do have a fantastic wife.
Oh, she's amazing.
I'll cheers to that.
Yeah. Jamie, that's for you.
Shout out Jamie.
Mm-hmm. She's amazing. So I got into voice acting by a fluke from doing a play back in 2007, 2008 with a mutual friend of ours. And they needed a voice of God kind of a thing. So he bought this piece of equipment to do a recording so we could do it. And I did the voice part for it, and we went into a little area in their office, and I just started thinking, man, people make money doing this. I'm going to go and just start researching and see what can happen. So I found a pay-to-play site, got on there, submitted an audition, got the job, $500 every time I did a recording, and it took me about an hour each time to do the recording. I did a series of 9. It's like, why haven't I been doing this all my life? But it happens in the beginning, and then all of a sudden, it's not the voice that they want. Even though it's like, oh, you got the golden voice, it's not the voice we want.
Right.
We don't want it too announcery. We don't want it too soft. We don't want it too hard. We don't want it too old. We don't want it too young. Conversational and...
But see, that
make it
all of those words are so subjective.
Exactly.
I don't want it too young.
How do you?
Okay, I'll be older.
Exactly.
I conversational. I thought I was. I was real. Okay.
And they'll listen. You submit the demo, and it might be 3 minutes of script, and they listen to the first 5 seconds. If that's not the voice they want, click next.
Yeah, because I mean, they're going through hundreds.
Hundreds. Yeah. Oh, it's crazy world, but it's fun.
Let me ask you a weird question. It can date back to theater days. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite role that you've ever had?
That I've ever had. Honestly, I have to say this most recent one that I have been talking about. It has been so stretching for me. And knowing in my heart, I can feel it, that this is going to be a huge break, and I can see it happening for all the people involved. Because
makes me so happy to hear that kind of stuff. That's awesome.
Cool. I'm telling you, I just can't wait to see it. And they're saying they're wanting to put it out for Amazon to take on. Oh gosh,
can't wait.
So out of all the things, the acting, voice acting, all that, this is just the pinnacle so far, and I'm excited to just can't wait for next season.
Well, okay, so you're going to be, in the next season, too.
I could tell you so much about this, but I want to wait till it comes out because something was supposed to happen, and it doesn't because of what happened. So it's crazy. It's crazy, man.
See, and this is why we watch TV, because something's supposed to happen, but it didn't because of the something.
Yeah.
So we need to know what something
exactly.
is.
You just got to see. I can tell you the name of the show. It's called Bounty.
We all know Bounty.
But it's not the Bounty from before. This is totally different. Completely new series, completely new people.
Huh. This is like when I was
Bounty,
doing
Texas is what it is.
Oh,
it's not a reality show. It's a series.
I'm interested. Okay, so this is a show I have never heard of about Bounty, Texas.
First series.
But it reminds me of when I was doing Prison Break, and then Prison Break went away, and but it's still something to talk about.
Yeah. And
then a new Prison Break came out, but I'm still talking about the old one.
Yeah.
And people are thinking, people don't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's so fun. I guess that the other thing was recently that I could say was a highlight. I got to be the stand-in or body double for Garth Brooks. That was so cool for the ACMs over there in Cowboy Practice Stadium.
If I could meet, so one of my really good friends is the keyboardist for the Randy Houser band.
I thought you were going to say the keyboardist for Bon Jovi. That's David Bryan.
No, the Randy Houser band, a country artist. Shout out John Henry Trinko.
Uh-huh.
He's a badass. But if outside of him and his group that I've met them all,
Mm-hmm.
if I could meet any country artists, the top three are, I have to go four because they're all tied. But Garth is one of them,
Uh-huh.
and Dolly, Reba, and I'm gonna say this is a test. Kenny.
It's not going to be Kenny Rogers.
It is Kenny Rogers.
Well, you're not going to meet him anytime soon,
I
I hope.
I know, but he's like in my top four.
Okay, so
Like every
out of
time I say
those,
Kenny, everybody goes Chesney.
met
No.
Garth Brooks, and at that same time, I got to give Dolly Parton a big old hug and talk to her. She's just an amazing woman. Absolutely amazing woman.
I love my life. If I had to have another one, I want yours.
Oh, it's so fun. Gosh, met Ed Sheeran. Just looks totally different than on TV. I mean, he's much smaller.
Yeah.
than
He
looks.
comes
He's
across as a small
yeah.
dude.
But just to see these people and shake their hand and
Yeah.
talk to them for
It's
just
kinda
that
cool.
instant.
Kinda cool.
And I mean, Garth Brooks came and sat down beside me and put his hand on my legs. You mind if I sit right here for a minute? It's like, sure. I'm playing you, and you want to come and sit by me. So we talked for a little bit. It's like, man, that's just a highlight. And the crazy thing is, I've never gone to a Garth Brooks concert. I've been to hundreds of concerts. I can't go to a Garth Brooks concert because his music has shaped my life for since he's started singing. Well, actually, I guess since he became famous, whatever. I was at a computer company way back in, gosh, right after I got out of the Army, and a song came on, The Dance.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, that is just so
moving.
And I asked somebody who that was. They said, man, it's Garth Brooks. Like, gosh, that guy's going places. And look where he is. I mean, and it's a matter of every song that's come out. I've got all the CDs. They make me so emotional that if I went to a show, I wouldn't even be able to enjoy it because I'd be bawling the whole time. So that's the only concert I've never been to. And he's sitting right there beside me saying, you mind if I sit here, man?
Well,
like,
I mean, I'm not the biggest country fan, but I've been to many country shows. Lesser, and I've never been to a Garth Brooks show. I've never been to a Dolly show. I've never been to any of the people I mentioned, a show of theirs, and that's unfortunate, and I need to change that. I can't change it with Kenny, but with the rest of them.
Yeah.
And
she's incredible. Dolly Parton is...
well, I mean, and part of it is they're all incredible humans.
Exactly.
Like,
it encompasses them.
Yes.
Just...
I haven't... Since the COVID stuff, I haven't really spent a lot of time. But prior to that, I spent a lot of time in Nashville for various reasons. And all I would hear is about real stories about Reba.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I've been, because of work, I have a bajillion photos of the outside of Dollywood.
Yeah.
I mean, Dolly, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a bajillion photos of the outside. I mean, I've never been in it, but I was there for work.
Yeah.
And I was infatuated with the place. Never got to go in. And, Garth, just who he is makes his music that much better.
Oh, I'm telling you. Just watching his story, if you watch his biography.
Well, if you just listen to how he interacts with his daughters.
Yeah.
Just that kind of thing.
He's just, oh gosh. He's got this saying that his dad told him, and this is actually something that's on the biography. He says, every blessing is a curse, every curse is a blessing. And I told him, he said, "You've been listening to my dad too much, man." It's like, no, I saw the biography, man. This is amazing.
You've been listening, like you've been hanging out with his dad.
Yeah, like I'm stalking or something. That's what I didn't want to. Like, man, you just don't know what a highlight of my life this is.
No,
just
I
amazing.
can only imagine.
Amazing.
And there are people in other genres of music that I would feel, but they're few and far between.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, I was a DJ, man.
Exactly.
I introduced Madonna on stage when she did the Like a Virgin tour because I'm that old.
Wow.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
like seriously, I've met so many people, and I don't. Part of me being that
Mm-hmm.
has jaded me about the whole celebrity
Yeah.
thing. Like
Yeah.
you're a celebrity.
We all
but-
put our
but-
pants
but-
on the same way.
But you still have to prove something to me
Yeah.
as a human.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
then you have my respect, and maybe it's something deeper, right?
Yeah.
But friendship, whatever. But yeah, it's like those from the country world, those would be my four that I've ever just had the respect for, and at that level. But
I like to hang out with them instead of just meet them. I like that.
Yes,
But-
because I've hung out with other country artists because I have a friend that is one,
Yeah.
and I mean, I would love to hear some of the stories. I would love to just experience some of the realness, the
Right.
realness of them.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that kind of thing. It's kind of cool. I do love doing these podcasts because I always wind up talking about stuff I never expected to talk about. I mean, I'm a prepared person. I have
You've got
actual
notes.
questions.
But we haven't talked to each other in 10 years.
Ask 'em.
We haven't talked to each other in that long.
Right. All right. So there is one question that I always ask at the end of my podcast, and I need to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good opportunity for you to highlight the behind-the-scenes people for you, because I don't care if you're an accountant or if you're a insurance salesperson or if you are something else, anything else. Whatever you do, we don't get there by our own sweat and blood, tears, whatever. We don't get there just because of our own merit, just because we want it bad enough.
Mm-hmm.
Some people think that if I want it bad enough, I can make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
But you need other people.
Yeah.
So, give you the opportunity to say, who's in the wings
Yeah.
of your success, who supports you.
I have owned different businesses, different companies,
Mm-hmm.
and I've never said that I have somebody that works for me. They've always worked with me to build something.
True.
When I had the restaurant, I had a maximum at one time of 60 people working for me. And I said working for me.
This Flight?
Because
is it called Flight?
Flight, the restaurant, yeah, it's closed down now.
Yeah.
But then we were able to whittle it down to where I had 29 people working with me to build what we built. I mean, for 2 years in a row, we were the voted best restaurant on the water, and it was just an incredible feeling. I'll never forget those people, and hopefully they'll never forget me. And they still come to me whenever we see each other and just say that was the greatest job I've ever had, and I think it's wonderful. I had another gentleman working with me at my company. I do equipment company, and he's been my right-hand man since 2016. He worked with me in the restaurant. When I shut the restaurant down, he came to work with me in the equipment company, and he's been my main maintenance guy. And 3 weeks ago, he passed away, and it just still breaks my heart. Dwayne is just an incredible man. So business-wise, it's the people that I have working with me. Main focal point of every single thing I do in my life is my wife, Jamie. There's times where I honestly think, how in the hell do you put up with me?
How have you not?
How do you deal
How
with this?
have you not dumped me in the ocean
Oh
somewhere?
my gosh, we got married.
I know.
21 years now we've been married.
Congratulations.
And she is a superstar in everything that she does. And crazily enough, she supports me in all of my crazy endeavors. And I'm telling you, if it weren't for her, I don't know what I would do. I feel like if it weren't for her, I'd probably be on a street curb just sitting there twiddling my thumbs. Because she inspires me.
But
She inspires me. We have taught youth religious education for 18 years now, her and I, and she is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm basically there for the
eye candy.
That too. the humor element. I'll throw in my life stories, and I mean I've got story after story, and I told you I can make up stories too. So I mean just to keep things light and related. But she is absolutely incredible. There's no words to describe her, and for her to support me in what I do, and some of the stuff I do is just ludicrous at times. I even say it, but she's like, why do you want to go and run with 70 pounds on your back? You're going to hurt yourself. No, I'm not. I'm 56 in numbers, but I'm 30 years old still. Damn.
I'm 13.
Yeah. It's
bulletproof.
Oh, I'm telling you. But she supports everything because she knows that we are two different personality types and we mesh together so well. Not that we don't fight. Every married couple does. But we mesh together so well, and I know it sounds cheesy, but she completely completes me.
Well, I believe that because I met you with Jamie.
Yep.
But I have heard from your own lips about pre-Jamie times.
Oh yes, I've had a different life there too.
Yeah, and I will always have a special place in my heart for Jamie because I think that she is amazing as well. Maybe I don't see all the amazing you see, but like together, you guys are freaking insane. Like
It's
like the people use the term power couple, but they're joking. Like you guys are like the power company couple. you power other people.
She supported me within the political arena.
That my wife told me.
Oh my gosh, that was.
My wife told I would get asked weekly in that time frame.
I asked you why weren't you on city council?
Yeah, you should run for city council. You should run for mayor. You should do this. And I would always say, I'd own it. I'd be like, "You're out of your mind. I'm not doing that stuff. That's stupid. It's not for me. I don't like it." Blah blah blah. But some of it, or a lot of it, was my wife saying, I'm not going to do what Jamie did. I'm not going through that.
Yeah. She had to bite her tongue many times because there's some rude people out there.
At 3 a.m. on your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about the fence needed to be moved. Or just crazy stuff. But I mean, that's part of it. And you're there to help people.
You're there to help people. I love that part of it. It's the rest of the bullshit.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, yeah.
I can deal without. Forget that.
That's part of the passion to helping people. I mean,
you're a good man. I mean, and your heart, just that you would do that, and the conversations we had around that at that time, and about why you were doing it.
Yeah.
And if they didn't elect you, I'm not gonna feel any anger or anything. I'm doing this for a different reason, and we had a lot of conversations, and we were already very tight. Good friends, and I think it was that time frame where we started thinking of each other more like, you're my brother, man.
I just told your wife, I said, Scott and I couldn't be more alike. Because remember when I called you that day and told you, let me tell you your life story, and I can tell you that it's mine as well. And we haven't talked in 10 years.
Right.
And here we are. And we pick up where we left off. And we're still best of friends.
Hey. And, we're going to go on vacation.
Exactly.
We're going to pick this up where we left it off.
I can't wait.
All right. Hey, man, I appreciate you so much for taking some time to be with us. And, we do this podcast to, hopefully, and it doesn't have to be somebody new trying to get into the industry,
Right.
but at any point, any of us need inspiration, or we need to hear somebody that has dealt
Mm-hmm.
with something that we're dealing with now. And I mean, that's a huge part of why I do this. I love doing this, and you were immensely both enjoyable and valuable as a person on this podcast. So thank you very much for coming and spending some time with us on live camera acting.
I can't wait to hear more from you, man.
Well, you will. You will. With that, we are out. Thank you again.
Thank
Love
you, brother.
man.
Love you, brother.
Well, that's a wrap on today's conversation. I really love having these conversations. They give us all a glimpse into, well, other ways to approach situations, problems, and issues that come up. Together with the super producer, Cooper Collins, and my guest of the day, we hope that you'll be back with us for our next episode in 2 weeks. As for now, we out. Peace, y'all.